We're here at our new project, the Jeffries Renovation here in East Boston. You guys need to see the inside of this fully gutted house built in 1839. Follow me inside. So this is an attached single-family home. Similar to a townhouse, they're side-by-side single families connecting by a parting wall. So the last couple of weeks we've been doing demolition here, rolling into framing, but that parting wall, if you guys follow me on Instagram, did a post about it. If you can see behind me, we actually have rock wool insulation in the stud bays. Two reasons we installed that rock wool insulation is thermal and sound. So since someone's living on the other side and we're in the shoulder season, the temperatures can fluctuate. We don't want her running her heat and having tremendous heat loss, but we also don't want the construction noise to bother her any more than it has to. So looking back, we actually ran into a little bit of an issue with that adjacent home, even though despite our efforts, we still had dust issues in the neighbor's unit, which we sent our cleaners over. We took care of things, but I actually posted about this on my feed and you guys had tremendous feedback. So if you haven't checked it out, make sure you do. You guys had suggestions on how to prevent some of that dust from being transferred to an attached single family in a situation like this. So thank you guys. We'll definitely keep that in mind next time. So generally speaking, this is a pretty straightforward renovation, but there is one other difficult matter to this. Being an attached single family, we have an existing addition off the back that we're actually going to be restructuring while maintaining the neighbor's side of it. So why don't you follow me out back, I'll show you what we're talking about. So I'm standing in the back addition here. You can see that there's ground below me, about 30 inches down, but really we're dealing with a very subpar structure here. I mean, the floor joists are continuous through the other side of this home, but I mean, a lot of this stuff, it's not gonna fly and we have to restructure it. So we're gonna take the opportunity to reframe this entire back addition. We're gonna gain additional square footage off to the right side, and then turn this into a living room and a kitchen. Because the existing footprint, the kitchen was very small. It didn't work for what we're trying to accomplish. Here's the difficult part. That side of this wall is all existing to remain. That's the other home. We can't take that down. We can't rip this addition off. So we're working with the engineer and the architect on this project to figure out the best way to basically underpin this wall, support this wall with a new beam while building a new structure adjacent to it for our new addition. That's gonna be a fun one, and I'm hoping that we can document the entire process. There's a lot of unknowns right now. Also, we're waiting for city approval, so that's something that's gonna be really interesting to see unfold on this project. The last few weeks we've been concentrating on demolition, basically getting this house down to the bare bones so we can start fresh. But one thing that we always run into is unforeseen conditions. I know we've run into subfloor issues, we've dealt with framing issues, roof leaks. Stuff in the basement actually had a water leak. So let's take a quick run down there. We're gonna talk to you about how we resolve that issue first. So we're down here in the basement of this project. Behind me, you actually can see a brick wall. This is a parting wall, so this is actually not on the exterior, but you'll see on the other three walls, it looks like it's painted white, but what it's actually is a three-step process. We went through here, we power washed everything. It was a mix of brick, masonry, field stone, kind of a hodgepodge of a foundation. We repointed all of the masonry throughout the basement, and then we used a Master Seal 581. It's a waterproof cement-based coating for concrete and masonry, and what it does is it offers us a warranted waterproof basement. That way, as we're redoing all our utilities, this home will no longer have the water and moisture issues that it once did. Another hard thing to predict when we're doing a renovation like this is how much framing and subfloor we're gonna have to replace due to the condition of it once we strip all the walls. As you can see beside me, we do have a fair amount of subfloor that we've selectively replaced. We chose selectively because we looked at the overall project, the overall budget. We're working within our constraints. We actually brought our wood floor guy on site prior to doing any of this work, and we walked through and we said, hey, what is our best option to make the existing hardwood on the first floor blend seamlessly with the second as well as the third floor. We're here in the future laundry room. Tanner is actually a new hire of ours, and he's getting right into the thick of things here, patching the subfloor in this 100-plus-year-old home. Cal and Tanner have made up these shims, basically allowing for the varying floorboard thicknesses and building up our floor joists kind of section by section, making sure that we're flush and within that tolerance of being able to install a wood floor. And I actually saw Tanner do this a minute ago, but he takes this and makes sure that we're flush. And we're gonna screw everything down. We're using the Pan Fast. So again, everything's glued and screwed. And we're gonna go back and, obviously we're dealing with the patches now, but we're gonna go back and hit all our existing floorboards as well. So that way everything's screwed before we put our hardwood down.
Yep.
Cool. So upstairs we were chatting about how we left the first floor hardwood, which we've actually protected. There's ram board covering everything. We actually had some masonite down during demo just for anything falling down. The plaster is not always so nice to ram board. But one thing we found is that the lath and plaster in the existing mill or trim was thick.
Yeah.
But we also found that the hardwood was installed up against that baseboard, right?
Right.
So, you know, traditionally for us, we're installing baseboard on top of hardwood. So kind of walk me through the process. So you can see here, you know, if I peel this floor back, our gap is, I'm not sure you have a tape, but say 2 inches.
Yeah.
So, you know, we're not gonna make that up with a traditional 1/2 inch or 5/8 blue board, which we would use in a situation like this. So there's a couple of ways we can do this. We could add a shoe molding, building out our baseboard to, you know, say a 2-layer baseboard, but our design doesn't call for that. The other option is to actually install a perpendicular piece of oak to these boards around the whole perimeter, but that, to me, that looks like an afterthought. Walk me through what you guys are gonna do to fix this or to remedy this.
All right, we're gonna pad frame by frame about 3/4 of an inch. That'll pick up our difference in where the wood floors came up short, plus our 1/2 inch blue board, plaster, and baseboard. So that at final dimension will be sitting over our wood floor.
Because traditionally we're installing our baseboard on top of the hardwood and we're scribing it to fit. I think that's a good solution. Stay tuned for our next episode of the Jeffries Point renovation here in East Boston.